At the very moment Bubba Wallace was doing his star turns as America's latest victim of injustice, lecturing his fans about their racism, being backed up completely by the morons who run NASCAR, a mob of violent lunatics was ripping down a statue of American patriot Francis Scott Key in San Francisco. On Key's empty pedestal, they spray painted these words, which effectively are their slogan, quote, "Kill the colonizers, kill whitey." In other words, murder Americans for the color of their skin. Now, you can argue about whether hate crimes ought to exist as a category in American law, and that's an argument worth having. But as long as they do exist, that would seem to qualify as one. And yet the FBI did not swoop in with 15 agents to investigate. It's not clear if anyone ever investigated because no one in power cared. If anything, they agreed. And that's the point. The mob does not operate independently from the Democratic establishment. The mob is an arm of the Democratic establishment. In the city of Philadelphia, both the mayor and the district attorney, Larry Krasner, we've told you about repeatedly, cheered as mobs set fire and destroyed public property there. But when a group of working-class Philadelphians tried to protect a statue of Christopher Columbus from being destroyed, Krasner threatened to prosecute them. You think the mob will ever show up at Larry Krasner's house? Not likely. In fact, no, never. And by the way, Nancy Pelosi is also safe at her estate in Napa. Democratic politicians don't fear the mob. Notice that? Why? Because they don't need to. They control the mob. The mob operates with their permission. These are their foot soldiers. This is their militia. In unguarded moments, Democrats make it very clear that they know this. Here's a revealing video shot just today. In it, you'll see Eleanor Holmes Norton. She's the non-voting Democratic delegate from D.C. to the Congress. You'll see her being interviewed by a well-known MSNBC anchor near the White House. Out of nowhere, a man dressed in women's underwear charges at them, because that's the kind of moment we're living in right now. And for a second, they were frightened. Watch what they said. Where are the police when you need them? That was their first reaction. At the moment they said that, the two were standing on a street with a mural that demands we defund the police. Of course, they missed the irony of that completely. It never occurred to them that the slogan might apply to them too, because they know it doesn't apply to them. They know they will always have police protection. And the thing is, they're right. They will. Federal law enforcement is entirely on their side. That's why there have been so few prosecutions of rioting and so much FBI attention to Bubba Wallace's fake hate crime. Career bureaucrats in the federal agencies support the Democratic Party. That means they support the mob as well. It's their militia, too. Virtually every American power center now stands on one side of the political divide. What you're watching in the streets is an attempt to crush the holdouts. Ask yourself, who is being targeted for destruction right now? Anyone who's not on board with their program. That includes local police departments, Orthodox Jews, gun owners, Fox News, NASCAR fans, traditional Christianity. That's not a random assortment of institutions. It's the people standing in their way. There's a reason that Black Lives Matter leader Shaun King yesterday called for the desecration of churches. That'll bring those Christians to heel. None of this should surprise us. We should have seen it coming. It was obvious. We've known for 50 years that much of the poison in our society emanates from the universities. But we've done nothing whatsoever to fix that. We've continued to fund them, no matter what they charge. We keep sending our children there. We've known for more than 3 years that the federal government's intelligence and law enforcement agencies are dangerously corrupt. They act as armed enforcers for the Democratic Party. That's why Roger Stone is going to prison. They no longer even try to hide this or their partisan affiliation. Just today, a group of dozens of former national security officials announced they will be campaigning for Joe Biden this fall. And yet, once again, in the face of mountains of evidence, we've done nothing about it. There has been no meaningful reform of the CIA or the FBI or any of the other terrifyingly powerful agencies that operate independently from our democracy and on the side of the Democratic Party. We know all this. We still pretend they're legitimate. We dutifully send in our taxes every quarter to pay their salaries. If there's any good to come out of this moment, and we hope there is, it's that we can no longer lie to ourselves about what is happening. Our institutions are not serving all of us equally. Some are actively trying to hurt us. When this is over, we need to do something about that. This time for real.